Welcome to Fort Knox High School. We are ready for today's game between the Fort Knox Eagles and the Fort Campbell Falcons in the 2026 version of the Army World Series. The arrivals. My name's Kevin Lady. It's my pleasure to bring you the game with me. Parent extraordinaire. He sent multiple kids through the Fort Campbell baseball program. Welcome, Greg.
Thanks, Kevin. It's good to be here today at Fort Knox. I mean, wish it was a little warmer out here, but it's a great day for baseball, any type of weather, really. But should be a good game today.
I agree. We're looking at cloudy conditions and probably high 50s for most of the day. So we are expecting it to be not have any obstacles to be able to complete the game or anything. We're not expecting any rain. So it's going to be a good day for baseball. A little chilly, but the boys are young and they can handle it.
Oh, yeah.
We probably need some blankets up here, but we're going to be all right, too.
Yeah, we should be fine. I mean, this is one of the games every year. It doesn't matter, how they do in the year. This is the one game that matters the most to both of these teams.
Exactly right.
It's that military camaraderie of, good fun baseball and, bragging rights and, that trophy. And you get to bring it home to your school that year. That's one of the biggest accomplishments for that team. So should be a great day for a good game.
Both teams having issues this year with winning games. Fort Campbell comes in with a 1-15 record. They did win their most recent game last Saturday against Livingston Central. Fort Knox is coming in 3-8-1. They lost to Butler County in their most recent game on Thursday. But like you said, records don't matter when these two teams play. They just want to beat each other.
Yeah.
In a few minutes, we're gonna be having a quick break as they play the national anthem here. But we'll get you ready for the game up until the time that stops. This is not a district game, of course. The two teams are separated by about 2.5 hours of distance, and so there's no district or regional implications to the game. But this Army World Series, as we call it, we call it Army Bowl when football teams playing. We call it Army World Series when the baseball teams are playing. This is the 31st playing of the Army World Series, and this could not be a more even series if they tried. 15 wins for each team in the past, and each team is 8-7 at home and 7-8 on the road. And we tend to alternate sites each year. So for 30 years, we've alternated sites, and it's 15-15, evenly matched teams, small schools competing in against typically much larger schools around them, and so we always have lots of issues. Having a consistent program, being able to build consistent players, having consistent coaches and whatnot is just the nature of dodea schools and dodea sports. So this will break a tie, and we'll see what happens today. Somebody will have the advantage after today. Starting pitchers for today's game for Fort Campbell. Fort Campbell's going to throw out Mike Anderson, the senior leader of our baseball team, one of our top 4 pitchers and certainly our best position player. He's had 11 innings pitched on the year so far, struck out 9, walked 29. He has an 0-3 record. But he does have the highest batting average on the team. He's got a .433 batting average. He's having a great year at the plate. So he leads us off. He's a great leader to have on the team. So he's going to be on the mound for today's game. Pitching for the Eagles today is going to be Mannix Garcia. He has 14 innings pitched this year, 10 strikeouts, 15 walks. He has an 0-run record on the year. So that's our pitching matchup for today. Our key players that we're expecting at the plate, of course, as we said, for Fort Campbell, Mike Anderson is going to be leading off, and Isaiah Messer-Cruz is going to be our cleanup hitter. He's hitting 300. They're the only 2 Fort Campbell players who are hitting over 300 or over so far this year that have more than 2 at-bats. So they're going to be leading us today. For the Eagles, Eli Ortega, 500 batting average, 17 stolen bases, 7 RBIs. Eli Griffin, 421 batting average. So they have a couple of senior leaders as well, ready to lead the Eagles into battle as well.
Yeah, the last week's game, at Livingston, Isaiah had some great key hits, couple RBIs, but he's definitely becoming one of those clutch hitters in the game to where when his bat is hot, his bat is hot.
That's right. Yeah, he. There've been a couple of moments over the season where Isaiah has really shined with some big time hits. Uh, as we look at the lineups for today, it looks like they've also moved Javi Ramirez up in the order. He's going to be batting third. Javi's bat has been a little bit better as of late. He's earned his way up the batting order as well.
Yeah.
The coaches are meeting at home plate with the umpire, and we'll get ready for final warm-ups and for the playing of the national anthem and the introduction. We'll take a break for just a couple of minutes, and we'll be back whenever all of that is done here at the stadium, and we'll come back on ready for the first pitch and starting lineup for today's game. We'll be right back on the Falcons Radio Network.
Nice.
I sure hope that works. I got to get better at throwing to you. I got to get better at saying something and then pausing to let you. It's a learning process for me too.
Oh yeah, but no, so far it's sounding pretty good. Childhood memories.
And we're back after the national anthem and lineups have been announced here at the stadium. We're ready for the game to get going. So the Eagles are in the field. Here's the starting lineups for today's game. Fort Campbell, they're going to be batting first, visiting team. Leading off the pitcher, Mike Anderson. Second, going to be first baseman, 8th grader Jay Cat. Batting third, the left fielder, Javier Ramirez. Batting fourth, the DH, Isaiah Cruz. He's going to be batting in place of the center fielder, Jebby Brewer. Batting fifth, the catcher, Colton Ramos. Batting sixth, right fielder, Gavin Haler. Batting seventh, the third baseman, Branson Bussey. Batting eighth, the second baseman, Kingston Morton. And batting ninth, the shortstop, Corey Baker, who I would expect we will see in relief if we go to a relief pitcher. I'm sure that Mike and Corey will just change positions on the field. Defensively for the Eagles, as we go around, first baseman is Lincoln O'Coin. At second base, we've got Ethan Abbott. Shortstop, we've got Eli Ortega, the leader of this team, of this Fort Knox team. And at third base, we've got Hayden Blanton. In left field, Amari Davis. Center fielder is Elijah Briscoe. The right fielder, Jesus Cruz. And then the battery for today, the catcher is Angel Santiago. And the pitcher today, Mannix Garcia, on the mound for the Eagles. Garcia is a left-handed pitcher. And so we're going to be facing the lefty today. I wish I had the splits. You know how we've done against right-handed and left-handed pitching.
Yeah, that's one thing to talk about. Really, is when you talk about lefties versus righties. You're starting to see a lot more left-handers, in the high school sports, especially for baseball. I think this year is the first year I think we've had more left-handers on our team at Fort Campbell
Right.
than I've seen the whole 5 years that we've been associated with the team itself. So they're starting to come up and they're good.
Yeah.
I mean, when you talk about our Jeremiah Brewer, Jebby, he's lefty. Isaiah Cruz, he's that power hitter on from the left hand side. So it's they're coming up and
Jay's a lefty, right?
Oh yeah, Jay Katz, yeah, he's a lefty too.
Jay's
So
a lefty.
when he starts swinging, he can pull that ball down the right field line, and it's gone to the fence a couple times. So we're when we get the bat swinging, we get the bat swinging, and so that's one thing we just need to do today. So I know last year Fort Campbell, we didn't get that trophy back, but hopefully this year we can accomplish that. That would be great.
So the Eagles have completed everything, and Mike Anderson, the leadoff hitter for the Falcons, is going to step in, and we're ready to get this started. First pitch. Mike is well up in the box and ready to swing. And the first pitch. Strike called inside part of the plate, and Mike down 0-1. And there's a hit into the gap in left center. Looks like the center fielder, Elijah Briscoe, camps under it in the alley, able to make the out. So one down now for the Falcons. And Jay Katz, first baseman, steps in as the second hitter for Fort Campbell. And first pitch, strike on the outside corner.
Yeah, it was let's just see if this umpire has a consistent strike zone today. One thing that every baseball team has been struggling this year with is that strike zone.
So 0-2, the count to Jay Katz. That one looked well outside. and a curveball, and Katz goes down swinging way out in front of that ball. So quickly 2 down now for the Falcons in the top of the first. That brings up our third hitter, left fielder Javi Ramirez.
Yeah, Javi's had some good hits this year too. When he gets, gets that bat swinging and he's yeah, got good timing on it. That one game he had a bases clearing triple, and then that era, I can't remember what team it was against, but he ended up scoring after a wild throw, at third base. But he's uh he's one of those key players that when he's on as well.
First pitch, low and inside a ball. Second pitch, he swings through a curveball, and now even 1-1. Javi Ramirez, 2 down, top of the first inning for the Falcons. And there's a hot shot down the left field line, and it's through the third baseman into left field for a base hit for Ramirez. Takes a turn at first, retreats. So the Falcons have a base runner with 2 out, and cleanup hitter Isaiah Messer-Cruz, the designated hitter, steps up to the plate. See if we can get anything going here with 2 out at the top of the first. First baseman for the Eagles, O'Coin, holding Javi on. Javi's got a medium lead. Looks like the pitcher's asking the field umpire to come over and take a look at something wrong with the rubber or something on the pitcher there. But now he's ready. He takes his lead, and Isaiah steps in. Slide step. Javi takes off. There's the throw down, and that's an out. Umpire calls Javi out. Good throw from the catcher, Angel Santiago, to gun down Javi at second base. So Isaiah will lead off for the Falcons in the bottom of the second. We're going to move in the top of the second. We're going to move to the bottom of the first, and the Eagles are going to be coming up to bat. We'll be right back on the Falcon Radio Network. And we're back for the bottom of the first inning. Falcons were set down 3 up, 3 down, sort of, in the top of the first, and so now it's their turn. So at first base for the Falcons, we've got Jay Katz. Second base is Kingston Morton. At shortstop, we've got Corey Baker. Branson Bussey at third. Javier Ramirez in left. Debbie Brewer in center. Gavin Haler in right. Colton Ramos behind the plate. And Mike Anderson is the pitcher. Leading off for Fort Knox now, Eli Ortega, the shortstop. He steps in, and we're ready for the first pitch of the bottom of the first inning. As always, Mike pitching from the stretch, and the pitch is well outside. The count 1-0. Mike was also messing with the clay, the dirt on the pitcher's mound. So just like the Eagles pitcher, he's having some issues, I think, finding his footing. Gonna have to get used to it. Second pitch well outside as well. 2-0 the count to Ortega. That pitch inside. 3-0 the count to Eli Ortega. The 3-0 pitch. Right down Bastone. 3-1. Now the count. Hey, Ortega's using that pencil bat. That thing looks familiar.
Yeah, that pencil bat is always we try to convince some of the players, you know, somebody needs to get the crayon bat.
And he's going for second on the pass ball, and he's in easily. So the 3-1 pitch was a pass ball, got past Ramos. It went all the way to the backstop, and Ortega was on his horse, and he rounded first, and he went straight for second and was there before Ramos could get the ball down there. So Ortega's in with a base on balls and a stolen base. Possibly be ruled an error. I'm not on the pass ball. So he took second on the pass ball. And second batter, Elijah Briscoe, stands in.
Went for a bunt, and I don't know if that like hit him in the wrist or what happened, but
yeah, so it's a strike. He went for the ball, so
yeah,
it's going to be a strike. It's 0-1, but he took a little bit of took it right on the wrist. That pitch called on the outside corner.
That outside corner today is going to be
that's where you need to live, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
So 0-2 the count to Briscoe. Ortega took his lead off the second. There's a foul ball well over the right field fence, over across the concession stand. So the count remains 0-2. Nobody out here in the bottom of the first. Ortega, the runner, on second. Morton holding him on. But that's a wild pitch. Ramos is able to block it, but Ortega is able to move over to third.
Yeah, this backstop here at Fort Knox is probably one of the biggest we play at.
Yeah, it's a long distance back.
If it gets past the catcher, that catcher's got to run a 4x4, in like 2 seconds to try and get the runner out.
That's right. And Ramos is able to block the 1-2 pitch. It's outside. Nobody advances. 2-2. Count now to Briscoe. Ortega on third. Nobody out. Bottom of the first. And the pitch. That was a bunt by Briscoe, but it rolls foul immediately for a strikeout. So Briscoe strikes out trying to bunt on a squeeze play. potential squeeze play. But Ortega stays on first. Stays on third base. That's the first out of the inning. And now stepping in is the pitcher, Mannix Garcia, left-handed hitter. And that pitch is high. So 1-0 the count to Garcia. Bussey, the third baseman, not holding Ortega on third. Now he's running over to third base. And there's a pitch. Fastball in for a strike. Garcia swings right through it. So the count now 1-1. There's a swing on a pitch inside, but it rolls foul down the first base line. Fielded cleanly by the first base coach.
Good throw.
Gets the ball back into the pitcher. Dude's got some experience. The count now 1-2 to Mannix Garcia. Pitch is outside. Count goes to 2-2.
Going back to that last batter, though, it is. I've always said, bunting is harder than hitting. Lay a perfect bunt down the line.
There's a hit right up the middle, past Morton at second. And so Ortega comes in to score. Garcia has an RBI single, score the first run of the game for the Eagles. So still one down in the bottom of the first. Fort Knox up 1-0 on the Falcons. And the first baseman, Lincoln O'Coin, steps in. I'm guessing O'Coin is 6'5". Not sure.
Well, from up here, it looks like he's 7'3", but yeah, I would go for maybe 6'2", 6'3".
He's a big
Big
dude.
kid.
Garcia takes off on that pitch though, and that's a clean steal. So he's now at second base, and the count now 1-1 on O'Coin. And there's a strike. O'Coin swing and a miss. So the count now 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1 out. Fort Knox has a man on second. There's a throwback by Anderson, but Garcia back easily. But now he knows. Knowing it's the back. There's a swing and a miss by O'Coin. And Anderson has his second strikeout of the inning.
Like Mike figured his curveball today.
I guess he figured it out. He's figured out the footing, maybe.
Yeah.
On the mound. So 2 down now. The bottom of the first. Fort Knox leads 1-0. And now stepping in is the catcher, Angel Santiago. First pitch swung on a little bit early, and he ends up hitting a ground ball behind him back to the Fort Campbell dugout. So the count 0-1. It's 2 down to Angel Santiago. There's a curveball. It's hit up the middle, fielded by Morton, who throws over to Katz, and out of the inning. So Falcons get out of the inning with no more than a single run for the Eagles. After 1 inning, your score: Fort Knox 1, Fort Campbell 0. We'll be right back. We're back at Fort Knox now, and we're ready for the top of the second inning. And leading off for the Falcons is going to be the designated hitter, Isaiah Messercruz, who was up at the end of the first inning, but because of the unsuccessful steal by Ramirez, he is going to start his at-bat over again. It looks like I thought we were about ready to begin, but it looks like the coach is dealing with an equipment issue on the catcher, so we're just pausing briefly while they fix something wrong. It looks like with the knee pads, the knee guards of Fort Knox catcher. In the first inning, we went 3 up, 3 down. Ramirez hit a single, but then took off on the first or second pitch of Isaiah's first plate appearance and was caught stealing. So now Messercruz begins his official plate appearance all over again here in the bottom of the second inning. Slightly open stance, left-handed hitter, ready to receive that first pitch. That's a little too far outside even for this umpire.
Just a little bit.
So the count 1-0. And the 1-0 pitch also outside. So Isaiah's ahead in the count now, 2-0. It feels like Isaiah's stance has gotten a little bit more open. I think he's felt a little bit more comfortable pulling that ball. So as the season's gone on, that stance keeps opening up slightly. And those 3 pitches are successively further and further outside. So he's now ahead in the count, 3-0. Let's see if he's swinging. And he walks on 4 straight. Did he square a bunt?
He did square up the bunt, but maybe just trying to psych out the infield. But
so Isaiah draws a walk and is standing on first base. Now the catcher, Ramos, steps in for the Falcons. That pitch inside, it gets away, and Isaiah takes off. Santiago, the catcher, familiar with this field, knows that he has no chance to get anybody.
Yeah.
Because of the ball. They didn't even make it to the fence, and he knew. Ramos is up in the count 1-0, and Cruz stands at second. He's got his lead. That pitch almost looks maybe a fastball, but I took something off of it.
Yeah,
It comes across chest high for a strike, but hard time figuring out what pitch that was. So it's 1-1. And Ramos swings right through the fastball. So the count now 1-2. Ramos. Messercruz with the lead off second. Second baseman Abbott briefly jumps over. And that pitch hits Ramos right in the back. So Ramos heads down to the open first base. A pitch. And so the count still have nobody out in the top of the second. And the Falcons have runners at first and second. So Fort Campbell has something going here. At the right field, Gavin Haler steps in. First pitch outside, 1-0. Count to Gavin. Always keep an eye on Gavin's front foot. See if he's bailing out. Oh, that's much better. So that ball sky high in the air into shallow center. Messercruz going for third on the tag, and he's able to make it. The catch was made. So sort of a sack fly, I guess, for Haler. And Messercruz is able to move up to third. Ramos stays at third.
Now back, number 19.
So the Falcons have men at first and third. Ramos at first. Messercruz at third. And third baseman Branson Buckley steps in for the Falcons. And Ramos takes off on a delay steal. And Messer Cruz not go. So I'll explain what happened. So Ramos hung up between first and second on his secondary lead. Catcher, when Ramos realized what was going on, he just turned around and sprinted for second. The catcher almost threw to second, but realized was going to come home on that throw. So he chased Mr. Cruz back to third. His throw to the third baseman was not caught cleanly, but Isaiah wasn't ready for it, so he stayed at third. So now we have men at second and third instead of first and third is the end result of all of that. And Bussey hits the ball, second baseman, unable to field it cleanly. So both Mr. Cruz and Ramos come home on the ground ball through second base. So it's going to be I assume it'll be a reach on an error.
No, that was a good hit. It just that weird bounce.
You think it was a weird bounce?
It was a weird bounce.
We'll find out later what the official score is on that. So it might be a two RBI single for Bussey.
Yeah, because from up here, it just looked like it just missed his glove. Didn't get a glove on it. I think it just went right through.
Might have hit a divot.
Yeah,
a Fort Campbell style divot.
That Fort Campbell style divot. I guess it follows us everywhere.
So the first two pitches to the next batter, the second baseman Kingston Morton, are actually both pitch overs to Bussey first. So there's a slide step, and we actually have a hit, and that is a little shallow pop fly fielded cleanly by the first baseman O'Coin. So Morton is retired on a 3 unassisted. And the next batter will be the shortstop, Corey Baker, the 9th batter in the order. So 2 outs now. And another throw over to try to get Bussey. He's back in safely. 2 outs, score 2-1. Fort Campbell leads in the top of the second inning. So Garcia going to a slide step on his throw, trying to keep the Fort Campbell runners from being able to take off. Here's another throw over. In easily. O'Coin having some fun with Bussey, pretending to throw back and whatnot. There's a pitch is fouled over the first base dugout. So the count now 1-1, Corey Baker. Swing and a miss, and a throw down to first, but Bussey's able to take off on that throw down to first by the catcher. And so
it was definitely a good read by Bussey there.
Bussey with a odd stolen base. We'll take it. So man on second, and Baker ready to take the 2-1 pitch, but it's called inside. So now count 3-1 to Baker. 2 down. Branson Bussey stands at second base. Nobody really holding Bussey on. Looks like there may have been some confusion about the count. But
yeah, it should be 2 strikes. He swung through one and hit that one foul, but it doesn't even matter now. That's all for a walk.
There we go. Yeah, I think it was 3-2, but he walks on the ball. And so now we have men at first and second. Baker stands at first, Bussey at second, and we're back to the top of the order with Mike Anderson. So Mike steps in with an RBI opportunity. 2 outs, though, at the top of the second. Curveball that Mike takes. It's in for a strike, 0-1. And a fastball comes. It's inside. So the count now 1-1.
That one a little bit outside again.
Little outside. 2-1 the count. 2-1 the count for Mike Anderson. 2 down. 2 men on for the Falcons. Anderson swings through that curveball. So the count now 2-2. No real attempts to hold Bussey on at second. They just wanted to try to get this batter. So there's a hit by Anderson, but it lands in foul territory just to the left base bag.
Really close right there.
Really close.
That was just over in fair territory. That one definitely would have got past the third baseman there.
Yep. Well, the count remains 2-2. We're ready to get the 2-2 pitch. And that pitch is inside. So the count full, 3-2, 2 outs. Then on first and second for the Falcons. This is what we pay Anderson for, to come through in this kind of situation. And that ball is high and outside. So Anderson trots down to second base. So now the bases are loaded, full of Falcons for the left-handed first baseman, Jay Katz. And the catcher, Santiago, goes out to talk to the pitcher, Garcia, about how they're going to play this bases-loaded situation. We got some speed on the bases. Bussey at third, Baker at second, Anderson at first.
Just want to let everybody know that the concession stand is open, so if you want to make your way for some hot food.
So we'll see if Katz, the 8th grader, can come through for the Falcons.
First pitch, just ball inside.
So the count 1-0 to Jay Katz. I just realized Jay and Isaiah have practically the same stance.
Something about those lefties.
Yeah, they've got that same slightly open stance, and then they close up at load. That next pitch for a strike, 1-1 to count. That pitch well outside. Count now 2-1. Bases full of Falcons. Jay Katz, first baseman, up. Nobody holding anybody on. They're playing to field this ball. Katz out in front of the curveball ends up swinging and fouling the ball back toward first base side. Count now 2-2. And he swings right through another curveball. So they're able to get out of the inning. No more Falcons scoring. But after the top of the second, the score, Fort Campbell 2, Fort Knox 1. And Fort Campbell strands 3 runners. We'll be right back on the Falcon Radio Network. Back to Fort Knox now for the bottom of the second inning. Falcons have completed their mid-inning warm-ups. Stepping in for the Eagles is going to be their third baseman, Hayden Blanton. Anderson back out for his second inning of work after 22 pitches in the first inning. Scores 2-1. Fort Campbell leads against Fort Knox in the middle of the second inning. First pitch. Well, that outside corner.
That outside
First strike.
corner is, starting to look pretty good for everybody.
Yeah. So count 0-1. That was too far
That one
outside.
was a little bit too far outside.
Too far outside
but
to expect that call.
then again, we've seen that pitch called a strike many a times.
Stretch. Count 1-1. And yep,
outside corner.
It looks to me like if it's anywhere in between the batter's box lines, he's going to be calling that strike.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it looks like.
Now we know.
Yeah, now we know.
Now we know. So count 1 and 2. Outside. So 2 and 2, the count to Hayden Blanton, third baseman. Mike Anderson on the mound for the Falcons. And 2-2 is outside, so now the count's full, 3 and 2.
Trying to find that outside corner, and sometimes it gets away from you.
And Blanton is down on strike, swinging through the third strike. High fastball. Blanton's down. The third strikeout of the game for Anderson. That brings up the second baseman, Ethan Abbott. One down in the bottom of the second inning. Pitches outside, 1-0. Even more outside, 2-0. I can't help but notice that the net mesh protecting us from foul balls as a whole, directly between home plate and my face. And so I can envision a world in which a foul ball comes screaming back at my face. But fortunately, we're a quarter of a mile from home plate.
Yeah, that it might take a little zip off of it.
I might be able to get from my face.
I don't know, but that's a pretty big hole. I mean, I would, just to see a ball come through that hole behind home plate, that would just be.
Believe me,
I'd go for that candy.
Believe me, I'm the one that it would happen to. It's 3-1.
I used to play ball back in the day. I could probably catch it for you.
Swing and a miss. Great pitch on the outside corner from Anderson. So Abbott's now down. Now 3-2. Full count. One down. And a swing and a miss, and Ramos makes the tag and has his fourth strikeout.
It looks like Mike, found this groove, calmed down a little bit, getting past those first inning jitters. And has found that strike zone pretty good to where Fort Knox hasn't been able to capitalize off.
Left fielder Amari Davis steps in, takes the first pitch inside, 1-0. 2 down in the bottom of the second inning. Nobody on. 2-1, Fort Campbell.
Ooh, another close one there.
Another close one, but outside, so 2-0 the count to Amari Davis. That pitch on the inside corner. That's one of those first inning strikes. That pitch now 2-1. And there's a swing and a miss. Really nice pitch from Anderson.
Mike's fastball is on. It's on, and there's a lot of people that cannot hit that fastball.
2-2 count. And there's a called third strike. So Anderson strikes out the side in the bottom of the second inning. And we're going to head to the top of the third. Score, Fort Campbell 2, Fort Knox 1. Welcome back. Ready for the top of the third inning. Score after 2 innings is Campbell 2, Fort Knox 1. And we're leadoff hitter for the Falcons here in the top of the third is going to be the left fielder, Javi Ramirez, third batter in the order. So Ramirez steps in. He had a single in the first inning, but then was caught stealing. Now he's the leadoff batter in the third. The first offering from Garcia. High. So the count's 1-0. So the 1-0 pitch from Garcia to Ramirez. And Ramirez just swings right through it. I caught a lot of the plate. Count now 1-1. That pitch high. 2-1. Count to Javi Ramirez. A pitch inside. So now the count 3-1 to Ramirez. You know, as long as people who have similar stances, he's got almost exactly the same stance as Mike. Got that real straight back and that high load. But Javi walks on a fourth pitch, so that now is on base for the second time. And that brings up our cleanup hitter, Isaiah Messer-Cruz, who walked his first time up and came around to score eventually. Messer-Cruz, one of the first Falcons to be in a viral video. Over 70 million views as of yesterday.
70 million views?
70 million views just on the original post. That's before it was picked up by both Phil Army and ESPN.
Oh my goodness.
Throw over to first. Javi's back in.
You know, when we hold pep rallies at the high school, We hold pep rallies, and these kids get into it. But I have never seen any pep rally to where I don't know how you would describe that, but that was just pure epic failure and funniness at the same time.
Something. What was? Was there some chirping from the dugouts? Okay, so the umpires have warned both dugouts about some crosstalk going on. But now we're back and we have a pitch outside for 2-0, the count to Messer Cruz. Javi's off, and there's the throw down, but Javi beats the throw this time. Javi's
beat it this time.
Beat it this time. Stolen base. So now Ramirez stands second, and the count to Isaiah is 2-1. Check swing, alas, because it fouls the ball down into a lot of green grass in foul territory down the third base line. Would have been great if he had actually
got a full swing
on that one and hit it into left field. Like that one. That one's going to also land foul in territory down the third base side.
Another check swing. I mean,
so 2-2, the count to Isaiah Cruz. Nobody out. Javi Ramirez standing on second for the Falcons. Here's the 2-2 pitch. And Isaiah hits a ground ball to second. It's throw over to first. And it does move Javi over to third. So Isaiah, nice little pull hit over to move the runner over to third.
Now batting number 1.
So that brings up Colton Ramos, the catcher. One down and a man on third. So here's Ramos. Takes the first pitch inside, 1-0. And there's a swing, foul ball over to the Fort Knox dugout. So Ramos has got a 1-1 count, one down. Javi Ramirez stands on third for the Falcons. Scores 2-1. Fort Campbell leads Fort Knox, top of the third inning. That pitch low and outside. Count now 2-1. Going to give Colton credit. He's not wearing that bandana.
Yeah, that I don't know what it is about bandanas and all that swag, or what they call it, drip, or all these extra articles of clothing that just make you look good. Parents have to buy, and it's like you just hit the ball or make a catch. That's all we worry about.
Have you had to buy some drip for Jebby or Ryan over the years?
Oh, gosh. And it's new every year.
Oh, there's a ground ball straight down the third base line. Javi comes in, and Colton is aboard first with an RBI single. So Fort Campbell now leads 3-1. And Gavin Haler, the right fielder, steps in. Gavin had a sac fly to center field in the second inning. So has no official at-bats yet. But now he steps in, and Ramos is at first. And Gavin swings first pitch. It is going over the left fielder's head. It is going to go all the way to the fence. Ramos is around second. He's going into third. He's going to come all the way around. He's going to try to score. There's going to be a play at the plate, but that throw is high, and Haler is into second base on the throw.
That hit, Gavin Haler's bat. When he gets a swing in,
he got a hold of it, man.
He might be a 5'2" player, but when he gets a hold of that ball, it
traveled, and so that was a clean hit to left field. So give him a single and a advance to second on the throw home, and an RBI because Colton never stopped rounding third. He was on his work the entire time. So Branson Bussey steps in. Branson had a 2 RBI single in the second inning. And that pitch is fouled, so the count now 1-1 to Bussey. The official score on that hit by Haler is a double and an RBI, not a single. He never hesitated going around first, just like Ramos never hesitated coming around third.
Yeah, that fly ball went directly over the left fielder's
head,
and it just kept rolling all the way to the back.
So the count 2-1 to Branson Bussey. He's on second, 1 down, and 2 runs in for the Falcons here in the top of the third. There's a foul tip by Bussey. Count now 2-2. Looked like a curveball that just never came down into the zone. So now the count full 3-2. And there's a ball well inside. So Bussey heads down to first with a base on balls. So now Falcons have been on first and second with 1 out. Coming up to bat, the second baseman, Kingston Morton.
We got a visit to the mound by Fort Knox Eagles.
Yeah, so let's see what's going to happen here. And as the coach heads on out to the mound, and the entire infield comes in to talk.
63. Fort Knox pitcher currently at 63 pitches.
So we'll see if he's going to get a couple more batters.
I don't know. Top of the third inning, 63 pitches.
Doesn't look like there's been any movement to bring in somebody, so they may be talking about how to try to get out of this. He just gets a fist bump.
All right, so we should be
game on. Looks like Garcia's going to stay in the game on the mound. And the coach is headed back to the dugout. No changes have been made. So with 1 down, top of the third, Falcons have been on first and second. Already have 2 runs in. Kingston Morton going to come in to bat for the second time after popping up to the first baseman last time. First pitch in there for a strike, so Kingston down 0-1. And a foul ball back to the dugout, or back to the backstop, so count quickly 0-2. So Kingston, there's another foul ball. It's coming back and hits in the bleacher behind home plate. So that's 1 called strike and 2 foul balls by Morton. Trying to get that batting average up over that Mendoza line. If anyone's going to hit that ball directly through that hole, it's going to be him, evidently, because he's aiming straight back with the ball. And that ball, shallow left field, so the shortstop was able to make that catch on that fly ball for Morton. So 2 down, and that's going to bring up shortstop Corey Baker.
Now batting number 2.
With 2 down in the top of the third and men on first and second. So Gavin Haler still standing second. Branson Bussey at first. And Baker up to bat. And that ball sort of gets away from the catcher, but Haler thinks better of it and retreats back to second.
Gavin wanted to go to third.
He wanted it.
That was a good judgment call right there, retrieving back to second base there. We've seen that catcher. He's got an arm already after throwing out Javi.
So Baker puts down a bunt. It's going to stay on the grass, and that was a perfect bunt. It just came to a dead stop. That was a thing.
That was a textbook bunt.
That was a perfect bunt by Baker.
Right.
So that's a single.
Speed.
That's a bunt single for Baker.
That's our only second successful bunt in the season.
Is that
Fort
right?
Campbell.
Well, that one was a good one. So now we've got the bases loaded. 2 down, and Mike Anderson steps in again with the bases loaded. Well, I guess the men were only on first and second when Anderson stepped in last inning, but now he's got another opportunity. He's got men on all 3 bags, 2 down, top of the third. Anderson up to bat. Pitch well outside. 2-0 the count now to Anderson. The fly ball to center field, his first at bat, walked in his second. And that pitch inside. Looks like that curveball came in a little bit too far. So the count now 3-0. Way outside. So Anderson's going to get an RBI walk, and that's going to bring Haler in. Bussey moves to third. Baker over to second. Anderson now on first. And now Cat steps in. Again, he did have the bases loaded. And so he struck out both of his previous at-bats, and he takes the first pitch in there for a strike. He's down 0-1. That's your chance, Jay.
That gap in between right and center right now. Perfectly good hit ball would definitely clear the bases.
That pitch on the outside corner, so now he's quickly down 0-2. Cats will try to protect here. That pitch finally outside, so 1-2. 2 down here in the top of the third. Fort Campbell leads 5-1. So there's a foul ball down the right field line. It rolls foul just past the first baseman. So everybody retreats. Cats will see another pitch. So here's the 1-2. And there's a hit. And it goes right down the right field line, past the first baseman. 1 run is in. Right fielder misplays it. Another run is in. And Mike Anderson's going to come all the way around, and Katz is going to end up on second base. So Jay has a single, an RBI, and then an advance, and more runs score on error by the right fielder. So 3 runs score. Katz ends up on second base. And Javi Ramirez is going to come up to bat.
First pitch in for a ball high in the air.
Number 9, Ramirez.
So the official score on that is a single for Katz and 2 RBIs. And the third runner scored, Anderson scores on the error by the right fielder. Now Ramirez is in. Has a single and a walk so far in the game. And the count now 3-0. Javi Ramirez. The score, Fort Campbell 8 and Fort Knox 1. Falcons have scored 6 runs here in the top of the third. And Javi's off to first base with his second walk of the inning. He started off, he led off the inning for the Falcons. So now Javi stands on first. Jay Katz stands on second, and Isaiah Messer-Cruz comes back up to the plate for his second at the inning. He grounded out the second baseman in his first at bat for the first out of the inning. There's a fly ball in shallow center. We're going to see if they can get to it. And looks like the shortstop, Eli Ortega, puts it into the bleeding with a great over-the-shoulder catch, shallow center field. That ends the Fort Campbell half of the third inning, but not before they put 6 runs on the board. Score now in the middle of the third. Fort Campbell 8, Fort Knox 1. We'll be right back on the Falcon Radio Network. Ready for the bottom of the third inning. Fort Campbell leads 8-1. First batter of the inning for the Eagles, their right fielder, Jesus Cruz. He has not been up to bat yet. So his first plate appearance. Mike Anderson remains on the mound for the Falcons. He has 39 pitches through 2 innings. He's on a 75 pitch count. So plenty of pitches left for Mike.
Yeah, Mike had a good second inning. Yeah, that 1-2-3 batter. You know, I think all of them went down on strikeouts, did they
3
not?
strikeouts.
Yeah.
First pitch is outside, 1-0. Count Cruz. That pitch even more outside. So the count now 2-0. That pitch, right down by Stone, counts 2-1. Two-one pitch. Also, fastball right down the middle. 2-2 the count. Now to Cruz. That's his most outside pitch yet.
Yeah, that one was almost outside the
batter's box.
The left-hand batter box.
Yeah.
And
count full. Leadoff hitter, Jesus Cruz. I would be shocked if this is not gas. And that pitch, either high or outside.
It was over the plate, but it was definitely
a little high.
A little high outside the strike zone.
So Cruz heads down with a walk to first base. And that'll bring the leadoff batter, Eloy Ortega, the shortstop, up at for the Eagles. Definitely their leader.
And it looks like Mike was just called for a balk.
Did he twitch? He always pitches out of the stretch, so. Well, pitches in for a strike. So Cruz down to second base on the balk. Down 0-1. Count. Pitches outside, 1-1. Nobody out here in the bottom of the third.
Let's go, Eli.
That pitch outside, so now 2-1 the count to Ortega. And that pitch must have been high.
From this angle, it's definitely a little high.
So the count 3-1 now. Nobody out on the third. So the runner got a secondary lead off a second and kept going. The ball got by Ramos, and he hesitated, but eventually took off the third. Ramos threw down, and it was a bang-bang down at third, but the runner's called safe. So now Cruz stands at third. Ortega with a walk at first. And assistant coach Austin Byram is out to talk on the mound to the infield about what the Falcons are going to do with runners on first and third and nobody out here in the bottom of the third.
That was definitely a good attempt throw by the catcher, Ramos. It was in there, but from this angle, the runner made it in time. You know, the tag was just a little higher.
So Coach Byram heads back to the dugout, and everybody appears to be clear how they're going to play this. And the center fielder, Elijah Briscoe, is going to be the hitter. And he turns, squares to bunt, and then comes back. Ortega heads down to second, but complete indifference by the Falcons. So now men on second and third. That pitch also outside. So Anderson's down 2-0 to the batter Briscoe. Pitch outside. 3-0 the count. Mike falling behind the hitter here in the bottom of the third.
Definitely different from last inning.
That's a strike. Might try that again.
I would.
3-1 the count now to Elijah Briscoe, center fielder for the Eagles. He did try it
And
again.
he did, and it worked.
Swing and a miss, so the count now full. Briscoe. Nobody out. Men on second and third for Fort Knox. There's a little check swing. It's going to float foul of the right field line. So everybody will retreat. Still 3-2. And there's a swing. Also fouled, out of play, across the first base dugout. It's kind of odd on that last foul ball. Kingston had gone out to get the ball from foul territory, and they had already put the ball in play for the next pitch before Kingston was even back in position.
Yeah.
But now here comes ball 4, and so Briscoe will head down to first base on the third walk of the inning for Anderson. So the bases are loaded. So the hitter is now the pitcher, Mannix Garcia, who had an RBI single that accounted for the only run of the game so far for the Eagles. But they certainly have something going here in the bottom of the third. Bases loaded and nobody out. There's a ground ball. They're going to say it was a foul ball off of his foot. So
I don't know if I saw that hit off his foot.
Mike fielded it and threw it home quickly for a force out, but they immediately called the foul ball instead. So the count now 1-1 to Mannix Garcia. There's a hit into the gap of right center, and it's dropped by Haler in right field. So they get a force out at second base. But so it could have been caught, but it was not. And when it wasn't caught, the batters had held up and tagged up. So one run does score from third. The runner having to run from first to second is thrown out by Haler. When he missed the ball, he got it in immediately. So that runner is out on a force out. So we have men on first and third, one run in, one out. Once again, Garcia heads down to second base with indifference by the Falcons with a runner on third. That pitch outside, so 2-0 the count to the batter, the first baseman, a coin. There's a swing and a miss by O'Coin. So the count now 2-1. So Mike is effective with his strikes when he gets the ball over the plate. He's just had some trouble finding the plate here in this inning. There's another swing and a miss. O'Coin down to his knee, swinging out of his shoe. Count now 2-2. One down. Men on first, second, third for the Eagles. And there's a Curveball called third strike, and O'Coin is down on strikes for the second time this game.
That off speed kind of froze him there for a minute, and he didn't even know what to do with it.
So the new hitter is going to be the catcher, Angel Santiago. So the first pitch to Santiago is high, 1-0. And that pitch is outside, so the count now 2-0. And that pitch, Santiago was out in front of it. Shot foul down the third base line. So the count now 2-1. Runners on second and third, 2 outs. And there's a high fly ball into shallow left. Is it going to be Corey? Is it going to be? Nope. Nobody catches it. So both runs up scoring. Baker and Ramirez had confusion about who was going to go for it, and in the end, nobody caught the high fly ball in shallow left. And that error allows 2 runners to score for the Eagles. So that's going to go as a error on the left fielder, Ramirez. And 2 runs are able to score on that. Pitch over to first. Caught the runner. Caught Santiago flat-footed, but he is able to avoid the tag, and he's in safely at first. So Santiago, the only runner now. He's off for second. And there's the throwdown. Santiago, plenty of time. Blanton swung at the pitch, so 0-1 the count to Blanton. And that pitch outside, so 1-1. The count now to Hayden Blanton, who struck out his first time up last inning.
We have a convention. Let's go. Come on. Jesus.
1-1 the count. 2 outs. Runner on second. Curveball inside. So the count now 2-1. Score is 8-4 now. Falcons still lead the Eagles. There's a single into left field. And the runner, Santiago, comes all the way around to score from second. The score now 8-5. Falcons over the Eagles. And here comes Coach Hardwick for the second mound visit. And he's coming out and bringing Cohen Brunner with him. So it looks like Cohen is going to come in for Anderson. And Anderson's day on the mound is done. So we're going to take a break while Brunner warms up, and changes have been made. We'll be right back. So Cohen Brunner, the new pitcher for the Falcons, Mike Anderson, the pitcher, is at second base, and Corey Baker's going to stay at shortstop. And so Kingston Morton's day is done. Cohen Brunner will take his place in the lineup. So now batting for the Eagles is the second baseman, Ethan Abbott, with a man on first. The Eagles scored 4 runs here in the bottom of the third, score 8-5. Brunner with a throw over first to let Blanton know that he knows he's there.
Go. Bring the bat down.
So the pitch behind the hitter, but because the hitter's bat was up behind his head, the ball nicked the bat for a foul ball. That actually ends up being a strike. 0-1 the count now to Ethan Abbott. There's a swing and a miss. And so Brunner has his second strike. 0-2 the count. 2 outs here in the bottom of the third. 0-2 the count to Ethan Abbott. That pitch inside. 1-2 the count now. Hayden Blanton standing on first for the Eagles. Abbott up to bat. 2 down. Count 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Batter called timeout there right before the pitch was thrown. Sometimes that strategy works.
Sometimes. But not
this
that
time it did not work.
because he's called out on strikes for his second strikeout of the game. And Brunner puts an end to the Eagles' threat in the third inning. So after 3 innings, the score, Fort Campbell 8, Fort Knox 5. We'll be right back on the Falcon Radio Network. So we're back for the top of the 4th inning, and looks like the Eagles have also changed pitchers. So their senior leader, Eli Ortega, now in to pitch. And pitcher who started the game, Max Garcia, goes to second base, and the second baseman, Ethan Abbott, goes over to shortstop. The leadoff batter for the Falcons is the catcher, Colton Ramos, and he takes the first pitch in there, right in there for a strike. Curveball from Ortega never breaks into the zone, so the count now 1-1. Falcons lead 8-5, top of the fourth inning. Ramos swings through the offering, so the count now 1-2. And that pitch right down the middle catches Ramos looking, and he's down. Strikeout to lead off the fourth inning. So that's going to bring up the right fielder, Gavin Haler, who had an RBI double over the left fielder's head in the third inning. It's part of that run explosion that the Falcons had. First pitch in for a strike. So Ortega's come in throwing strikes. Ortega pitching from the stretch. Haler fouls that ball off toward third base, down third base line. So now no balls, 2 strikes to Haler. And Haler swings and misses, so he's down on strikes. Front foot bailed a little bit on him, and he just could not catch that ball that was on the outside part of the plate. So 2 down now in the top of the fourth, and that'll bring up the third baseman, Branson Bussey. Branson had a 2 RBI single in the second inning and walked and scored in the third inning. Takes first pitch for a ball here. 1-0.
Let's go. Pull the trigger.
There's a foul ball down the right field line, and it is down along right field fence. So the count now 1-1. Branson Bussey. So here's the 1-1 pitch. And another swing and foul back over the first base side. So now the count 1-2. 2 outs. Branson Bussey. And Ortega shaking off every sign until he gets to the one that he wants. That's curveball that stays way up high. 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 down. Branson Bussey. The 2-2 pitch. Low runs the count full. 3-2, 2 outs. Branson Bussey. Here in the top of the fourth inning. And that ball well outside, and Bussy heads down to first base. So Bussy aboard with his second walk of the game, and that brings the pitcher, Cohen Brunner, up to bat for the Falcons. Two down, but a runner on first for Fort Campbell as Brunner prepares for his first plate appearance of the game since coming into pitch in the bottom of the last inning. Greg with snacks now.
Hey, this baseball it's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to snack from the game.
So Bussy takes off for second, and the throw gets underneath the shortstop and rolls out into short center field. So Bussy's at second base with a stolen base. It's the second stolen base of the game. Bussy having himself a good day. 1 for 1, 2 RBIs, 2 walks. A couple of runs scored. So Brunner 0-1. And a curveball in for a strike. Now Brunner's down 0-2. Steps out to regroup after that. I don't think he was prepared for how outside this umpire calls pitches. Now he steps back in. And a balk called. Evidently something wrong about how many times he's patting the ball in his glove. So the field umpire calls a balk, and Bussy heads down third. So now he's in scoring position if there's a pass ball.
Typically, an umpire calls balk. It's even, once every 3 games he, is as an official. But the infield ump today is more of a balk connoisseur, I might say.
So Bussy has his lead off of third. They're not really holding him on. And there's a strike called. That might be the most inside of the inside calls we had today. Cohen Brunner's down on strikes. That'll end the 4th inning for the Falcons. So it's the middle of the 4th inning. Score Fort Campbell 8, Fort Knox 5. We'll be right back. Back for the bottom of the fourth inning, and Cohen Brunner in to continue his work. Brunner leads the Falcons in innings pitched this year. Over 19 innings pitched. Now 20 innings pitched after the last inning. 15 strikeouts, 19 walks. His first pitch to Amari Davis, swing and a miss. So runner ahead in the count, 0-1 on the first batter for the Eagles. Pitch is inside this inning. So now the count 1-1. Score: Fort Campbell 8, Fort Knox 5. Bottom of the fourth inning. And that pitch stays high. 2-1. The count to Amari Davis. There's a strike looking, and so the count now 2 balls, 2 strikes. Runner ready to deliver the 2-2 pitch. That pitch is inside, so now the count full. So there's a 3-2 pitch from Brunner. Davis fouls the ball off down the right field line. And here's another 3-2 pitch. That is a slow roller down to first. Katz fields it cleanly and steps on first base for the first out of the inning. So 1 out now for the Eagles. Nobody on. And the right fielder, Jesus Cruz, comes up to bat for the second time. He walks back to lead off the third inning. We have a strike from Brunner for the first pitch, so 0-1 the count to Cruz.
We'll say that ump is consistent with that outside corner.
There's a curveball right in there for a strike.
Right down the middle.
Wow. But that was so much slower. The speed of that thing just froze the batter. So 0-2 the count now to Cruz. And there's a fastball that somehow missed all of the parts of Cruz's body. I do not know how that happened. It looked like
that was a well-timed jump there from Cruz.
So here's the 1-2 pitch. And he swings and fouls it back. So the count remains 1-2. That pitch would have been a ball, but he swung and made a little bit of contact with it as the ball came back to the backstop. And that pitch looked like it was where other outside pitches have been called. But it's called a ball, so 2-2. And there's a swing and a miss. So Cruz is down with a strikeout. So 2 outs in the bottom of the fourth inning. And that brings up the top of the order again for the Eagles. So Eli Ortega, who has 2 walks so far, so he's no official at bats. He's been on base both of his plate appearances. And there's a ground ball to short. And for reasons unknown, our shortstop pat the ball several times before throwing, and then it's off target, and so Ortega is on. So the official score gives him a single. There's a throw over. Gets away from Katz, so Ortega's in at second. So time is called.
Hopefully, the Falcons can get their head back to the defensive side of the game because usually, we've seen in the past to where once that one or two mistake occurs, it's all falls apart. So hopefully we can get out of this inning here real quick.
So Elijah Briscoe steps in, the center fielder. And first pitch is grounded foul down the third baseline. So 0-1 the count, 2 outs. Ortega stands at second base, Briscoe at the plate. There's a curveball, and it gets away. It gets away from Ramos, who doesn't go after the ball quickly. And that allows Ortega to get down to third, and he's in ahead of the throw. So now runner on third with 2 outs. And the umpire getting some balls back in play. So now Briscoe stands in. The count 1-1, 2 outs. Runner tied his shoe. It looks like we might get back to playing baseball sometime soon. All right, and now Brunner's set for the 1-1. That pitch high, so 2-1. 2 down. Bottom of the fourth inning.
And that outside corner again.
And there's a strike. Oh, there's finally the call. Boy, it took him a while to make the call. You hear it?
I heard it.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't know. There's like a delayed
Took him
effect.
a- I
We're
got
so
you.
far away from that.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Oh, almost found that hole in the net.
And so foul ball straight back right at my face. The net did its job. Good job, net.
Good job.
2-2 the count. Here's the pitch outside. So the count full. 3-2, 2 outs. Runner on third. Ortega. Was the batter. And Brunner steps off the rubber. Wasn't quite ready. Comes back in and comes set. There's a chopper down third base. Bussey with a great throw to first base for the third out of the inning.
Bussey is all over
Bussey's
it today.
all over it
He
today.
is all over it.
So the Falcons able to hold the Eagles to no score. They strand a runner on third. The score after 4 innings, Fort Campbell 8, Fort Knox 5. So we're back for the top of the 5th inning and some defensive switching around by the Eagles. Lincoln O'Coin has moved from first base to catcher. And the second baseman who started at pitcher has now moved over to first base, Garcia. And Blanton has moved over to shortstop from third base. And the catcher, Santiago, has moved over to third base. So a lot of defensive movement. No actual changes in the players, just what position they're playing defensively. So our first batter is going to be the shortstop, Corey Baker. Baker had a walk in the second inning and a single in the third. And he tries to bunt again, but misses the ball, so strike 0-1. Yeah, his single in the third inning was a bunt that was a thing of beauty.
Right, yeah, just slow road all the way in the grass, all the way to the third baseman.
So he turns around as if he's going to bunt on that. But count now 0-1. He's the first batter of the inning for the Falcons. And that ball comes right at his face/shoulder.
Just a little up and in.
He ducks out of the way. So the count now 1-1. That pitch called a strike. Across the letters. So now the count 1-2. So here's the 1-2 pitch. Lower outside. Take your pick. 2-2.
We got an update in the softball world. Unfortunately, our girls lost today against the Fort Knox Eagles, 8-6. In softball, they had their World Series in their profession as well, and go for us this year.
We'll see.
Let's see if we can bring this one
bring
home.
it up.
Yeah, let's see if we can bring it home.
Baker got a full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes. That last pitch outside got away from the catcher O'Coin. That pitch inside. Baker is on base for the 3rd time today. 2nd time with a base on balls. So Baker slowly jogged down to first. And that'll bring the top of the order and Mike Anderson up to bat for his 4th plate appearance. Mike, 0 for 1, but has been on base with 2 walks, one of which got him an RBI. Strike 1, the first call. So 0-1 with nobody out. Corey Baker stands on first. Getting his lead now. Not a very big one. Mike swings, and it's a foul ball way up in the air. O'Coin not able to make the catch. He's upset with himself for not getting that out. Taylor pats him on the back as he heads back to the mound. So Anderson gets another chance. That is the tallest catcher I've ever seen. Holy cow. That pitch outside. And the count now 1 ball, 2 strikes. So there's a little flare that lands just over the pitcher. He's able to make the play at first. It does move Baker over to second. So a fielder's choice.
Great defensive move by the
Great.
pitcher there.
Great play. Terrific play. So Mike is out on a fielder's choice. But that does move Baker over to second, and that brings first base, 8th grader Jay Katz. He started the game with 2 strikeouts, but did have a 2 RBI single 2 innings ago. So 1 for 3. It's 2 RBI. Looks like there's something going on at second base. I'm not really sure what's going on. The umpire talking to maybe Baker. Not really sure. Pitcher complaining about something. Not sure what.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if something was said or
Pitch outside.
getting his head a little bit.
Maybe so. Having taught Corey for a couple of years, I can say Corey's good at getting in your head.
No, I coached him 1 year, and yeah, he was definitely one of those players where he can get at you.
Yeah, gets the ground ball to first. And so unassisted, Katz is out. That moves Baker over to third.
Not bad.
So 2 outs now down for the Falcons. Runner on third. Reminiscent of last inning where we had 2 outs. Got somebody around a third by the time everything was done. But now Javi Ramirez, the left fielder, steps in. Has a single and 2 walks. And there's the first pitch swinging straight up in the air to third base. Oh, no.
And it drops.
And it drops in. Sounded like the third baseman was calling it. Shortstop started calling him off, and confusion reigned. And the ball dropped on the infield, which brings Baker in to score. And so Javi Ramirez on at first base. Being scored a single. Nobody misplayed it. They just had a and it looks like there's some more chirping going on. Maybe between.
I don't know what's going on right now, but there are definitely
Maybe one of the players, the fans. Not really sure what's happening. So the score here in the top of the 5th inning is.
I don't know. Something's going on with Corey Baker. Got a couple players down there trying to hold him back or something. He's almost all the way to the field.
Not really sure. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. We've got a couple of players who are with Corey. Looks like Corey's been. So there's a lot of excitement going on right now as we try to figure out what's happening. Trying to get.
I definitely don't know what
Corey calmed down. There was some chirping going on between some of the fans and the players, and then one of the.
Looks like we got the assistant principal for Fort Knox out there too, or the athletic director, or somebody out there on the field trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, we're not really sure what's happening. So the coach took the opportunity to go out and conference with his players at the pitcher's mound. Emotions running high. Not really sure what's happening. So it looks like everything is calming down, and it looks like we might be able to get back to playing again.
Seems like we got some of our parents out there trying to go out there and trying to calm them down as well. At some point, we'd like to get back to a baseball game, but we got to figure out what's going on here.
I sure would. So Mr. Cruz steps in now for the for the Falcons. Javi Ramirez stands on first base. There's 2 outs. 1 run is in for the Falcons in the top of the 5th. There's a strike called on the outside corner. So the count 0-1, 2 outs. Throw back to first, but Ramirez is back in. And there goes the runner, and the ball gets past him. So Ramirez, another stolen base.
Looks like the infield umpire just gave another warning to Fort Knox.
About, not really sure.
Some more chirping going on from the dugouts, it seems like.
Could be. Count now 1-1 with 2 outs. Runner on second. And Isaiah fouls the pitch back behind home plate. So Ramirez retreats back to second. Count now 1 ball, 2 strikes. Rivalries, am I right?
This is one of the biggest ones of all year.
Yeah. So there's the 1-2 pitch. Ramirez is off, and he's in with another stolen base at third. Now we have a 2 count to the batter, Isaiah Mesa Cruz. Javier Ramirez stands on third with 2 down, top of the 5th inning. 9-5, the score. Fort Campbell leads Fort Knox. And there's foul off. So we'll have another 2-2 count. So there's a fly ball. Looks like it's going to shortstop, and no confusion this time. So we have put out, and that ends the inning. Top of the 5th for the Falcons. But 1 run does score in the middle of the 5th inning. Fort Campbell 9 and Fort Knox 5. We'll be right back. Falcon Radio Network. So we're ready for the bottom of the fifth inning. And Mannix Garcia, who started the game as the pitcher and has worked his way around the infield, is now the first baseman. He steps in as the first batter of the inning for Fort Knox. We did get word Corey Baker for the Falcons was ejected from the game during all of that excitement during the last half inning. So Baker is out, and Noah Green is now in for the Falcons playing second base, which moves Mike Anderson back over to shortstop. So the count quickly to Garcia is 0-2. And there's another foul ball. Count remains 0-2. Colin Brunner still in pitching. He came in with 2 outs in the third inning, pitched the rest of that inning, pitched the fourth, and is now out here to start the fifth. Score is 9-5. Fort Campbell leads Fort Knox here in the bottom of the fifth. And we have a curveball, swing and a miss. Garcia down on strikes. This is going to bring up the catcher now, Lincoln O'Kane.
Now batting.
O'Kane has been down on strikes in both of his previous plate appearances so far in this game. There's a swing and a miss on a curveball, and O'Kane down 0-1. So 0-1, the count to Lincoln O'Kane. Runner comes set and delivers. Swings and a miss on another curveball. And so now the count 0-2. And a swing and a miss on a fastball inside. So O'Kane down, his third strikeout of the game. 2 down quickly on 2 strikeouts for Fort Knox. So now Angel Santiago comes up. Started the game as the catcher, is lately the third baseman. And he grounded out to the second baseman in his first plate appearance and reached base on an error by the left fielder in his second. So he is 0 for 2, but he has been on base. Swings at the first curveball. It's 0-1. And he sits on that second curveball and is ready for it, and is actually a little bit early, and that ball is lifted foul down the third base line. So the count now 0-2 with 2 outs. Bottom of the fifth inning, and there's another foul ball out of play over the third base dugout. So it remains 0-2. I promise I know what inning it is. It is the bottom of the fifth inning. And there's another curveball, swing and a miss. So Brunner strikes out the side in the bottom of the fifth inning and gets their 3, 4, 5 hitters. Score after 5, Fort Campbell 9, Fort Knox 5. We'll be right back. We're back for the top of the 6th inning, and Fort Campbell leads 9-5 over Fort Knox. The first batter of the inning is going to be Colton Ramos, Falcons catcher. Ortega back out for another inning of work on the mound.
Ramos.
So Ramos steps in against Ortega and ready for the first pitch of the inning.
First pitch in for a swinging strike by Ramos.
Thank you. I was
Oh, you're good.
I was
You're
busy
good.
typing on the chat.
You gotta keep them all informed, you know.
All 2 of them. So that's a pitch outside, called a strike. So 0-2. It's been a strike all day mostly. That pitch too far outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Crowd has been conditioned to accept outside strikes.
Yeah.
They were ready for that one to be called a strike too. There's a swing and a miss though. And Ramos is down on his 2nd straight strikeout of the game. He's going to bring Gavin Haler up, the right fielder. Haler struck out in his last at-bat, had a RBI double in his previous at-bat, and a sacrifice fly. He is 1 for 2 on the day with an RBI. One down now, top of the 6th. That pitch outside. Count 1. Looks like Haler had already stepped out with his front foot, and that ball was on the outside corner. 1-1. Outside, 2-1 to count. And that's a shot down the left field line. He got a curveball that he was looking for, and he rounds first and stay there with a great single, great piece of hitting.
That was a great at bat right there. Gavin just waited, for that right pitch and was able to squeeze it in between the third base and the third baseman for a good thing on the right field. Great hit.
So the Falcons have their first base runner of the inning, and Branson Bussey, the Falcons' best player today, third baseman, steps in with Haler on first. 1 down, top of the 6th inning. Not a very big lead, and he's back quickly as Ortega flinches like he's going to throw over to first. Gives him a chance to get his uniform a little dirtier. There's a slide step pitch from Ortega. He comes quickly home. Bussey's through it. Count 0-1. And there goes Haler, and he's going to be in with a stolen base. O'Coin with a good throw down, but it was late. Haler just throw. So Haler stands on second base with a stolen base.
Yeah, Gavin had a good jump there from first. and I was able to get in there successfully for the stolen base.
Owen and reaches for a curveball, flies out. Ortega takes it on the infield. So Bussy flies out. Pitcher unassisted. So 2 down now, top of the 6th inning. Haler on second for the Falcons. And Cohen Brunner, the pitcher, steps in, struck out in his first at bat. See if he learned anything after that first at bat. What the strike was going to look like.
Well, I don't know. You could come up to the bat, first, second, third inning, and that strikes him.
There's a hit that goes down. It's underneath the first baseman's glove. Haler comes all the way around and slides in at home. And on the throw home, Runner gets over to second.
A lot to digest there, but
so a single by Brunner. Give him an RBI as he brings Haler home. And then on the throw home by the right fielder, that gets Brunner around to second base. So Noah Green, the new second baseman for the new runner for the new second baseman for the Falcons, came in. He now steps in the bat. Runner returns some gear of some sort. Base coach, Coach Hardwick.
Number 4, Green.
And so Noah Green steps in for his first plate appearance of the game in the 9th spot for the Falcons. Ortega turns like he's going to pick off at second, but the second baseman had already retreated, so there was no one.
Cohen's got a decent-sized lead at second.
There's a swing and a miss from Green. Runner heads back to second. So 1 run in for the Falcons here in the top of the 6th. 10-5 score. Fort Campbell leads Fort Knox. Count 0-1 with 2 outs to Noah Green. There's a pitch down the middle. And the count now 0-2. I'm not sure how many plate appearances Noah has so far this year.
I'm not sure.
And the pitcher steps off the rubber, chases Cohen back to second base, even though nobody's coming over to. And there's a called third strike, so Noah's down on strikes.
Can that be his first appearance?
It was his
third
at bat of the year.
Oh, okay, third at bat of the year.
He's down on strikes, and so that ends the inning. But I'll just tack on the run. So now the score in the middle of the 6th inning: Fort Campbell 10, Fort Knox 5. We'll be right back on the Falcon Radio Network. We're back for the bottom of the 6th inning, and Fort Campbell leads 10-5 over the Fort Knox Eagles. We're going to have the 6, 7, 8 hitters for the Eagles come up. So we begin with the shortstop, Hayden Blanton. Struck out in his first at bat, but had an RBI single in his second. So Brunner starts him off with the ball outside. Counts 1-0.
Just a touch outside.
Just a touch. Here's the 1-0 pitch. And that is a strike down the middle. Count 1-1. Yeah, that's a curveball in there.
That curveball.
Boy, I tell you what, man. 1-2 the count now to Blanton. And there's a little grounder to first. Katz fields it cleanly and puts him out. Cat with a 3 unassisted. And that's the first out of the inning. That brings up the second baseman for the Eagles, Ethan Abbott. He has struck out both of his plate appearances so far. He's 0 for 2 strikeouts. Curveball stays high. 1 ball, 0 strikes. One down. Bottom of the 6th inning. There's this high fly ball hit out into right field, and it's going to fall. Haler was just not able to get to the ball. It was just going to fall in between the first baseman and the right fielder, and he was running, but could not get to it. So Abbott is on with a single, and that'll bring up the left fielder, Amari Davis. Davis struck out in his first at bat and then grounded out to the first baseman in his second. He's also 0-2. Pitch over from Brunner as Abbott stands on first base. Falcons wearing their black pinstripe uniforms, black on black. Fort Knox wearing green jerseys with gold sleeves and white pants. The rain has held off for the most part. It sprinkled a little bit early in the game, but that has ended and it did not. Check swing. He was able to hold up. So the count now 2 balls and no strikes to Amari Davis. Here in the bottom of the 6th. Abbott with his lead at first. Here's the pitch. That's a strike down the middle. 2-1 the count now from the pitcher, Cohen Brunner. Batter, Amari Davis.
Runner takes off.
Throw down, and it is not in time. So Abbott steals second.
Pitch was a strike, so it counts 2-2 now.
And Brunner throws back to second, throws back to Noah Green at second. And Abbott back safe. And here's the pitch. And and on the check swing, they appeal to the field umpire who says no swing. So full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes, with 1 out and a runner on second. There's a swing and a miss. And Davis strikes out. second out of the inning. And that'll bring up the ninth hitter in the order, Jesus Cruz. Cruz walked in his first plate appearance, but struck out in his last at bat. He's 0 for 1 with a walk. First pitch is in there for a strike on the inside corner. Count 0 and 1. And the runner takes off, and there's a ground ball fielded cleanly by Green. Throws it over to Katz for the out, and that's the third out of the inning. And that ends the sixth inning for the Eagles. So after 6 full innings of play, your score: Fort Campbell 10, Fort Knox 5. Inning number 7, final inning of the game, coming up in just a minute. We'll be right back. Back for the top of the 7th inning. Fort Campbell coming up to bat with a 10-5 lead. And we're going to lead off with the top of the order. Mike Anderson up for his 5th plate appearance of the game. Mike flew out to center. He's had 2 walks and hit into a fielder's choice. So he is 0 for 2. He is due for a hit this game. Eli Ortega out for another inning of work on the mound for the Eagles. And
I'll say this is probably the first game we've seen Mike play where he hasn't had a hit yet.
right, yeah.
You know, and we're at the top of the 7th, and so let's see if we can get him hit this inning.
In his natural position of being leadoff. So
Yeah.
see what happens if we can get some insurance runs here. Top of the 7th. And he fouls the first pitch back and out of play. 0-1 the count. Ortega's been out there for what, 3 innings plus at least. So he's been very effective. There's a fly ball from Anderson into center field, fielded by Briscoe. So Mike is put out. to the center fielder for the second time this
Now
game.
batting number 10.
So that'll bring up the first baseman, Jay Katz, who is 1 for 4 so far on the game. He has 2 RBIs on a single, but he has 2 strikeouts and grounded out to the first baseman in his last plate appearance. Time for him to get a 2-hit game. Strike called on the outside corner.
Outside corner again?
Surprise.
Surprise.
I'd really like to see him taking some of those the other way. But that pitch is low for a ball, so the count 1-1. And here's the pitch. And there's a line drive out into right field directly at right fielder Cruz. Didn't even have to move. They were positioned perfectly. It was a good hit. Put a good right on it. But
Yeah,
it was
that was a
right at the right fielder.
Good, strong, clean hit, but right to the glove of that right.
So after 2 quickly down at the top of the 7th, and that'll bring up the left fielder, Javi Ramirez, for the Falcons. Javi has 2 singles on the day and 3 stolen bases. He has been caught stealing once, and he has 2 walks. So he's on base all 4 of his plate appearances. There's a curveball. Called strike.
I'll say both these pitchers, they do have some amazing curveballs.
Good curveballs. A lot of really good off-speed stuff. Swing and a miss. 0-2. Count. 2 down for the Falcons here in the top of the 7th inning. Javier Ramirez up. 0-2. That pitch is low in the dirt. Count 1-2. It's 2 down to Javier Ramirez. That pitch is outside and gets past the catcher, rolls all the way to the backstop. Counting 2 balls, 2 strikes. All right, Ramirez steps in now to receive the 2-2 pitch from Ortega. And he swings and misses. There's a strikeout. So the Falcons go 1-2-3 in the top of the 7th. So we go to the bottom half of the last inning. Last chance for the Eagles. Fort Campbell 10, Fort Knox 5. We'll be right back. Bottom of the 7th inning, unless Fort Knox is able to score 5 runs here in the bottom of the inning, this will be the last half inning of the game, one way or the other. So Falcons put Cohen Brunner. He's out there again to pitch for the bottom of the 7th. Fort Knox is going to counter with the top of their order. So they've got the top of their order, Eli Ortega, coming up for bottom of the 7th inning. So they're going to have the top of their order against Cohen Brunner, who's had a magnificent outing so far.
Yeah, he's come in at a
6
with some
strikeouts.
good relief.
6 strikeouts in 3 innings. He's doing great. Ortega steps in. He's been pitching for 4 innings. 2 walks and a single. So we'll see what we've got. And Brunner comes set for the first pitch of the inning. Curveball outside. Counts 1-0. And that ball's high. 2-0 the count from Brunner to Ortega. There's a line drive into center field that goes right over Brewer's head. And he's headed to third. And Anderson gets the ball in. But now Ortega stands at third with I guess we're going to call it a triple. It went over Brewer's head.
Stepping up to the plate, number 3, Elijah Briscoe.
I think that ball went a little bit further than Jeffy thought it was going to.
Yeah,
it looked like he was settled underneath it, and then it went over.
Yeah, and it just went directly over here. I don't know. Being his dad, that's a bad read. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, but sometimes in the outfield, you think it's going short, but then it's over your head, and it's like, oh man.
Yeah. That run is the longest run in the world.
Yeah.
But Elijah Briscoe now stands in, center fielder for the Eagles. Steps in. First pitch from Brunner's a strike. So Fort Knox, nobody out, has 1 runner on third. They're going to need 5 runs. Keep this game going. There's a swing and a miss. And Brunner's ahead. Count 0-2 to Elijah Briscoe. Briscoe struck out, walked, and grounded out to third in his 3 appearances so far. Foul ball. Directly to the on-deck hitter. Made a great play on the ball. Was able to get the ball where it needed. So the 0-2 pitch from Brunner. That's down the third base line. It is fair. It was just inside. And so Ramirez gets the ball in. And Briscoe's in with a double. It scores Ortega. So the score 10-6.
Falcons have action in the bullpen.
Garcia.
Mr. Cruz warming up in the bullpen. So the Eagles have 1 of the 5 runs they need to extend this game. And there goes the runner. And it's hit back up the middle. And that's going to be a base hit for Garcia. And that brings Briscoe in. So 2 runs in and nobody out for the Eagles.
Falcons assistant coach heading out to the mound, see if we can't calm these Falcon players down a little bit.
O'Coin's coming up to bat. O'Coin has struck out all 3 of his at-bats so far.
just need to get them back in focus right now because their mind is a little.
Yeah, there's not a lot in from this batter down from 4 through 9. There's not a lot of hits to be seen for the Eagles, so they're leaving Brunner in for now. Coach Byram comes back to the dugout, so we'll see what happens with the next batter. Lincoln O'Coin, catcher, steps in against Brunner. Runner on first, nobody out. Runner steps off the rubber. Let's get set again. There's a fastball in there for a strike. So the count 0-1. There goes the runner. It's just a quick little grounder back to first, back to the pitcher, gets him out, and then the runner tries to get to third, and Cat throws the ball to Bussey.
Defensive play right there.
So that's a great double play. So O'Coin hit the ball as the dribbler back to the pitcher. Brunner threw him out at first, but then Garcia tried to stretch it from second to third on the put out. But Cat made a great throw to Bussey at third, who tagged out Garcia at third for a double play. So now the base is empty and there's 2 outs. And the new batter is Santiago, the third baseman for the Eagles. And the bases are empty. So 1 more out, and this game will be over. And that outside pitch not given to Brunner. So the count now 3-0 to Santiago. Time called by Santiago. It's fine with Brunner. Steps off. He's going to tie a shoe.
Well, back to a double play. That was a good heads up communication out there. To make that play over at first and seeing the runner, trying to advance in that throw.
Really
Great throw, great tag play, to get the runner out at third.
So there's a 4-pitch walk issued to Santiago, who now stands on first. Eagles still need 3 runs to tie the game.
Now batting number 5.
And so Santiago at first of those 3 runs. So Hayden Blanton, shortstop. Blanton has a strikeout, an RBI single, and is grounded out to first base. So he's 1 for 3 on the day. Throw over to first. Let Santiago know that he knows he. There's a foul back directly behind home plate. Again, you're safe. Count 1-1. Brunner comes set. Swing and a miss. Count now 1-2. 2 outs. So, 4 down for the last strike.
Runner goes.
It's outside. So Santiago moves over to second base. And Blanton has a 2-2 count. Runner comes set. And there's a hit out in the center field. And Brewer catches it. That's the third out. And the Falcons win the Army World Series game against Fort Knox. And the Falcons celebrate their second win of the season.
What a win. What a win.
Great win. Great game.
Great game
Yeah.
by both teams, really.
It was
I mean,
terrific.
both the pitching was remarkable. Some good key hits and some good defensive plays, but in the end, Fort Campbell came strong and brought that trophy back home for us today.
We were going to break the tie. It was going to be it was 15-15 in the season series, and so the Falcons break the tie. So now the Falcons lead the series 16-15, and so they have the trophy for 1 year at least. And this is a fun moment for the boys as they enjoy this win and celebrate this win over their biggest Indiana rival.
Yeah. It's always a good game between these two teams. The tradition of the two Army bases in the state of Kentucky, and these kids, they go through a lot of transitions throughout their high school career for baseball, and just for this moment in their career, it means a lot to them. So it brings good.
So here's the presentation of the trophy, and Jebby Brewer, who made the ninth out of the inning, or in the last out of the inning, is out with Coach Hardwick to receive the trophy. And so we bring the trophy back home to Fort Campbell. So the final score, Fort Campbell 10, Fort Knox 7, and the Falcons celebrate around the trophy. There's not going to be a second game today. There was only we originally thought there were going to be 2 games. There's going to be a doubleheader, but only 1 game on the schedule. So the Falcons are going to celebrate the win, get on the bus, and head back home. Thanks for listening today, and we will see you next time on the Falcon Radio Network.